Long-term relationships don't work. I am going to explain to you why. But before I do that, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My name is Mahdi Tijani. If this is your first time here, I go over videos with relates to intersexual relationship dynamics with a specific focus on us Muslims in the Muslim community. Again, if it's your first time here, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. If you've been here many times before, once again, please help out with the algorithm. Push these videos out to reach more young men who need to understand more about intersexual relationship dynamics. Hit that like, sub the channel, it takes nothing from you. Jazakumullah khair. So, long-term relationships do not work. And now I am talking specifically during the courtship phase. Okay, I'm not talking about I've married a woman and she lives in Africa and I live in New Zealand and we're trying to make it work it out. I also believe those are, you're struggling. It's an uphill battle to make those work as well. But I am talking specifically during the courtship phase where you are talking to a sister with regards to marrying her. And I'm raising this discussion because I have had multiple DMs from you guys who have told me, I'm trying to lock down this girl. I really want her. I want her to be my wife, but she lives in another country or she lives in another city. Sometimes it's not even another country, but that country is far away. Perhaps it's another state if you're living in America, and you can't just visit her on a whim, and you certainly can't marry her right now. Whatever the case may be, I am going to tell you why they don't work, and ironically, why they don't work, especially with single mums. Especially with single mums. There is a greater likelihood that it will work with a sister who doesn't have kids than with a sister who does have children. And I will explain to you why. And this is not a vendetta against single mums. This is just facts. So before we dive in, I'm going to tell you a story of a conversation I had with a sister the other day. And this sister was telling me of relating or seeking advice for one of her friends. And one of her friends right now is looking to get married. She's a single mum herself. She has a few children and you could say she's just past her prime, ever so slightly. So she's somewhere in her 20s, all right? You could say north of 25. Is it south? I think it's north. This sister has a couple of kids. She's been divorced and now she's looking to get married again. She's talking to a brother. This brother lives in a foreign country. And again, I'm keeping the details all blurry intentionally. So if I stall occasionally, it's because I'm trying to wipe out pieces of information that could indicate towards who this person is. I want to keep it totally anonymous. This brother she's talking to lives in another country, many miles apart. At this moment in time, it is impossible for them to live in the same country. You have to go through the whole rigmarole of paperwork and all the rest of it. It's a very difficult process. This brother, he's a professional. He's an established professional. He's never been married before and he doesn't have any children. But he's head over heels over this sister who has been married before and does have children. Fine, whatever. Now, this brother is thinking, I want to do my best. I'm going to pull hell on earth. I'm going to do whatever it takes to try and marry this sister. That's going to be his MO right now, right? What do you think the sister's MO is? Well, as was fed back to me, this sister, she's interested in the brother. She wants to marry him and she has committed to him. I need to make that point very clear because once a suitor, a man, proposes to a sister and the sister accepts, it is haram, categorically haram for any other brother to approach this sister. She is now spoken for. She cannot be approached unless the sister decides she no longer wants to continue with the marriage with this brother. But so long as she says, yep, I'm spoken for, I'm about to get married, or I'm going to get married at some point in the future, it is haram for you as a brother to now continue to approach her. So this brother in this foreign country wants to marry this sister who's a single mum with a number of kids, and she has agreed. But guess what, gentlemen? Here's the real kicker. Whilst this brother over here is in La La Land, thinking up all of these grand dreams of his bride-to-be, this sister here is still considering her options elsewhere. She's still considering her options elsewhere. And I am not going to turn this video into a rant or a tirade. I'm simply going to deliver a message and explain to you why women do this, particularly single moms. It's not going to be a tirade. I can already hear the men getting angry, and rightly so. I empathize with you. But I'm going to give you an insight into the psychology of why a woman does this, especially a single mom. Firstly and foremostly, you guys all know, men have post-nut syndrome, women have pre-nut clarity. I'll say that one more time. Men have post-nut syndrome, that is, suddenly they're able to think clearly after the deed has been done as to whether he really likes this woman or not. Before that point, his mind is clouded with testosterone and cum. Bottom line, completely clouded. After he has relieved himself, he's able to think more clearly, which can represent a mushkila oftentimes. And how to get over that, I'll discuss that in another video. That's not for today. Women have pre-nut clarity. That is, she has that clarity and clear-headed thinking before she's intimate with a man. She becomes heady and emotionally overwhelmed after intimacy. After intimacy. It's one of the reasons why women can't sleep around without there being consequences. If a woman sleeps around promiscuously, there will be huge consequences to that because she is emotionally tied up in all of those affairs, one-night stands, even marriages. A woman who's had multiple marriages, she's been emotionally taken to the cleaners. I'm not saying it's haram for her to marry again or whatever the case. I'm reporting to you. A woman who's had multiple intimate partners is more difficult to deal with on an emotional level than a woman who has had less or none. Just reporting. Now, going back to the original point, women have pre-nut clarity. And this sister, even though she is spoken for, even though she has agreed to marry him, is still considering other options elsewhere, or is at least open to being approached. Now, we have already established that this is haram, but I'm going to explain to you why women do this, especially single mums. You have to understand, gentlemen, in a long distance relationship, there are no guarantees. There are no guarantees in any relationship. But the further the distance apart between you and her, the greater the complexity to make it work. The more complications that are involved. And this sister cannot afford to wait. She is on a timer in terms of her peak desirability, her youth, her beauty, her fertility. Very important. The closer she gets towards the age of 35, the closer she gets towards entering geriatric pregnancies. You as a man are not on this timer. You can, technically speaking, especially if you take care of your health for a lifetime, have kids until you die. Facts. Because it only takes one sperm from the millions that you produce each time you shoot your shot. It just takes one to impregnate a woman. Women don't have that luxury. After the age of 35, after the age of 30, 90% of a woman's eggs are dead. After the age of 35, she enters geriatric pregnancy. After the age of 41, there is less than a 3% chance of a woman conceiving. With that all in mind, a woman, generally speaking, particularly a single mom who's looking to get married again and have more kids because she wants to have more, which is fine, is eminently pragmatic. I will say that again. These women, those type of women especially, are eminently pragmatic in their approach to choosing a husband. She has to be. She can't be all clouded in her head like we are. She has to be pragmatic because she's on a timer. Is it right? No, it's wrong. And by wrong, I mean it is wrong if she commits to a man and then continues looking elsewhere. It's haram firstly and foremostly. And then after that, it's wrong. It's wrong. But she has to be pragmatic in her approach. So the way her mind sees it is this, right? I've got this guarantee here. So I'm going to hold on to this guarantee. But the problem with this guarantee is that it's an unlikely guarantee. Therefore, I need to search out other guarantees that might be more likely. That's hypergamy, baby. And she is on a timer. She doesn't have time to wait for your long distance ass. It could take months, years. And all the while, she's getting older. She's becoming less fertile. And she's leaving her peak desirability here. So it's going to be harder and harder for her to find a husband. Now, I am not defending this. Let me make this categorically clear. I am not defending this. When I first heard this, I was disgusted. That was my initial gut reaction. As a man, if I tell a woman that I want to marry her and I'm ready to commit to her and I'm saving my resources for her, and then she at the same time is considering other men, it's sickening. I can't even find the words for it. But I am reporting to you how the mind of a woman works, how she is thinking and why she's thinking it. And that's why I tell you, gentlemen, if you are going to get into a long distance relationship with a sister, you're going to entertain the possibility, the idea of marrying a sister from far. And I'm talking specifically now, you're not married yet, okay? Understand, she is going to be exploring other options, even if she says yes to you. She has to, because she doesn't have time.
نار نار سنفجرها برصاصنا نمحوها لعب مهلا يا